We've got a very interesting subject for our broadcast today. We will be talking about kids and food allergies, something that is very surprising to many of us, including myself, and I've got some very interesting stories for you.
I like to eat, eat apples and bananas.
Welcome to the Nutrition Daddy broadcast. I'm your host, Dr. Mitch Kahn. Unfortunately, this isn't such a happy subject, but an important one, a very important one. Quick story to start off. I'm reading the paper, this goes several months ago, and there's a story about this kid who is in the cafeteria of his school and takes a bite of his food and goes into anaphylaxis, goes into an allergic reaction, and the kid dies in the school. It turns out he was allergic to peanuts, and not sure exactly what happened. I'm not sure if there was just a kid like at a table next to him eating peanuts, or if he borrowed a knife from someone who had cut a peanut butter sandwich and they cleaned the knife off, but he used it, and just this tiny little bit of peanuts caused him to go into this reaction, and he knew he had the allergy, had the shots with him, but didn't make it. Sad story. So anyway, I get this note home from my son's school, his high school, that there's absolutely positively to be no peanuts brought to his school. And I'm in shock. I'm looking at this note, and it was a letter sent to all the parents, and made no sense. I was just beside myself. So I decided to do a little video about this, because what I've noticed is that these allergies are getting worse and worse and more common. In fact, you could do a little research yourself, but I was absolutely beside myself. I just read that between 150 and 200 people die every year from peanut allergies. I'm like, whoa, just in total shock. And the United States is the worst of all the countries when it comes to this allergy. In fact, most other countries don't have anything near this problem that we have. So let's back up a little bit. Years ago, when I was younger, and it was a bit of time ago, there was no such thing as a food allergy. I mean, no such thing. Nobody had them. They didn't exist, basically. There were small amounts of allergies around. In fact, I was one of the first kids that I ever heard of or knew had an allergy, but mine was more environmental. It was a pollen and dust kind of situation, and I reacted every spring to the weather change and the trees and so forth. But it was rare. It was like it basically didn't exist. And then all of a sudden, as the years go by, more and more food allergies are becoming more and more common. I don't want to use the word popular. Just incredible and very scary. So what can we do about this? And what's causing this? Well, the cause is from many sources. The main problem we have, though, is our food source. The foods we're eating have been so adulterated, have been so altered from their original state. Sometimes they barely even resemble what they once were years ago. A good example of this is wheat, and I will talk more about that in another video. The wheat today is not the same wheat that our grandparents had or that they used, which has led to a lot of the gluten issues that have been coming up lately. Another subject for another video, but that's just an example. The more we alter the foods, the more our body is having trouble digesting them and recognizing what they are, because chemically they don't recognize it anymore. It's not the same thing that Mother Nature had once made. So that's one of the issues. But the other issue is, and something that we could do more about, is this. It's difficult, if not impossible, to have a sensitivity or an allergy to food if your digestive system is working properly. Now, the digestive system starts actually in the mouth, okay, with your saliva and with the parotid glands. And if they're not working properly, you're going to have trouble as the food goes down into your body, into the system. Those glands and that first mastication when you're chewing the food is extremely important because it signals the rest of your body, the stomach and the intestine and your gallbladder and so forth, to start kicking in and to start working, start making digestive juices, start getting bile ready and so forth. So your digestive system needs to be working really, really well. And if you have a food allergy or you're sensitive to certain things, you need to get that digestive system, that process up better and better and better to a level where it's working optimally. It's very important for you. A lot of things can be done to help that. And as I said on a previous video, digestive issues are the #1 issue that I see all the time in practice. And it is a very, very, very common problem. So one of the main solutions to handling this almost, I won't say epidemic, but this major problem we're suffering from is to get your digestion handled. Now, another thing that can be done also is to rotate the food more. In other words, stop eating the same foods all the time, which I've also noticed is very common, very, very common. We tend to get into a routine where we just keep grabbing and going for the same foods. We buy the same foods, we go to the same restaurants, we eat the same dish at the same place, and to some degree I'm also a victim or guilty of doing this. It's not good at all. It's not good for your body. #1, you don't get all the nutrients you need if you're not really eating a big variety of food. And #2, your body will start to react if you continue to eat the same foods over and over. So you really want to try to mix it up. Try not to eat the same foods more than every 3 or 4 days if you can, if possible. I know it's difficult, but that's another solution, especially if you have sensitivities to foods. Another issue, which we're not going to get into in this video, but I will in a future video, is the genetic issue. And these sensitivities and weaknesses in our bodies are often inherited from our parents and grandparents. That may be somewhat controversial to some people, but it exists and it's true. I know absolutely 100% on this. There's no question about it. Genetics play a role. We'll talk about that in a later video, but I hope this has been somewhat helpful. If you need any help, any questions, feel free to contact me. I'm Dr. Mitch Kahn, and it's been a pleasure. Have a good day.
I like to eat apples and bananas. I like to eat apples and bananas. I like to eat apples and bananas. I like to eat